Hello and welcome to Sim the Turnery. Today we're looking at a cheap trim router that I originally bought to go onto my CNC machine. So I'll just go through what we get in the box. Normally I would try and show it to you before it's been used, but I ended up having to use this and I must say it does its job. That's really what I'm going to say about it. Okay, so in the box you get the trim router. Okay, I'll just take the holder off. So you got the trim router in this. At the present time I've got a keyhole bit. This is a bit that you just run up the wood and hang pictures with and so forth. So you get the router, you get the adapter plate. Here it's got an EU plug on it. You got the small attachment that goes underneath, attached like this, that lines up the edge of your wood and the router bit, so that when you're flushing off laminate or things like that, you can move this in and out so that it's exactly the right position. And you've got various other bits and pieces, a few nuts and bolts, two spanners, and a spare set of brushes. The other thing that you get is a nice set of instructions that tells you all about it and all the spare parts that you could need. So firstly, let me address one of my issues with it, because let me just first show you the make. The make is Black Pine. Well, you can read that. It's a 220 volt, 3000 RPM. It's a 6.35 millimeter collet, so 1/4 inch, with an 800 watt. It's got an 800. It's got an on-off switch. There's no variable speed. Okay. The other thing that you notice about it, with the Makita trim router, it's 65 millimeters is the dimensions of this shaft. So if we put the calipers over this, you'll see that this one, I don't know whether you can see that, is only 63.65. So a lot of the fittings that I've got, it would be 2 millimeters, almost too small. The other thing I found was it runs fine. It's not too noisy. But I found, if I just undo this, in actual fact, no, I'm going to get another spanner. Basically, the spanners are so thin and flimsy, you can see as I've tried to undo that collet and doing it up, I bent it, and this really needs a different set of spanners. But I found that the collet inside was a lot smaller than I expect, a lot larger than I expected it to be. The bits I bought, as you can see, are 1/4 inch, and this is a 5/16 bit, so it's an imperial size, which is 6.35 is an imperial size. I'll put a link in the description for these as well. And if I just take these out of the bag, you'll see that come out. You'll see that they've got a keyhole head. Okay, so basically they go into your wood, slide into about this depth, you move them along and then take them back out and pull them out, and basically they create a space for a keyhole. Now that is 6.3, 6.35, 6.3. So it is the 1/4 inch it says it is. But on placing it into here, this slipped quite a lot, and I had to tighten it up. When I was tightening it up, the spanner's bent. I don't know whether you can see that. It's not flat anymore. And realistically, if the collet's not tight, it's not doing its job. So the other thing I did notice also is when I was running it and cutting the keyhole threads, there was a lot of flashing from the brushes. Now, yeah, okay, in the initial stages you might get that. Wasn't what I was expecting to see. At the end of the day, it's a nice little machine, and I'm sure for flushing, it's probably great for just trimming the edge of your laminate off. I think in this application I would probably go back to a proper router, and I'll have another router to review. I've just bought myself a new router, and I've got that to review, and hopefully you'll see what a proper router looks like, or the benefits of the proper router. But for me, this machine is probably great for just doing the edges of laminates, which is really what it was designed to do. I think a lot of us expect a lot more from them. I note that some of the companies have even got battery machines out, and I do fancy testing one of those battery machines, but to date I've not managed to buy one to test. So noise of it is not terribly loud. There's no point in me putting it on to let you hear it. My views on it, yeah, it's a very cheap machine. It will probably do what I want it to do, to just trim off the laminate. On this occasion, I think I probably asked a little bit too much from it for cutting a keyhole. I might change my view as time goes on. The other thing that I note, on my original ones, I've got a Makita one, and this has got a thumb wheel that actually goes into these increments here. If you look there, there's all the spacings ready for a thumb wheel and a guide wheel. That doesn't exist on this, and it's not there. So this is a wasted. It's a lovely piece of machine work. But if this doesn't exist, what's the point in having it? I've not yet worked out how this one goes on. This one obviously goes on there, and you put your nut and bolt in there and tighten it up. But as regards this, so that one would go in like that. Okay. Again, if you were to put a straight router bit in, you could adjust this guide wheel up to the edge of the piece of panel. If I put a piece of panel up there, up to your edge of your piece of panel, and literally run your router bit exactly along the side of it. But as regards to the rest of it, I'm not totally certain how it all goes together yet, and I'll play with it and try and update the video to show you what happens. For me, I paid somewhere in the region of €30, so most people will be saying, well, what do you expect for €30? Yeah, I would agree. Let's see if the instructions tell me. No, they don't seem to tell me. Perhaps you have to take this apart I've not done that yet. But then it seems to be no slots around here. So the only slot we've got is this one here, and that's not very deep. So I'm not sure how all this would fit in. Anyway, just a quick view of it. I mean, that's not going to go like that. Okay, there we go. So that would go on exactly the same as your other, as your flush trimming piece. Okay, and then and that would then go on to there like that. Ooh, yeah, okay. So it would do its job. There's not a lot more to say, really, for a cheap machine and a machine that would just get you out of trouble. It's a good little machine. I think the ones I have, it would leave a lot of eating. But anyway, hope you've liked my review. If you like it, please subscribe and watch for the future things that I'll be doing. Presently we're in the middle of renovating a house in France, and as we buy tools and do work on it, you'll see us review the tools that we use and what we're doing, so that you can see where we're going, and hopefully you can either buy the products or decide not to buy the products. Really, your choice is yours. I'm not recommending a product, because at the end of the day, it's just for an information more than anything. So anyway, this has been Sim in the Turnery, and hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe and watch for future videos. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.